getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Mileham in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Hay deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Good evening and welcome back to the final round of Season 2 of the JPB Clio Cup. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Callum Mileham here once more, who's going to be with me guiding through all the action here at the final round of the season. It has been an absolute historic season as well. We have been to Watkins Glen, Knockhill Reverse, Twin Ring Matigi, Suzuka, Summit Point, Snetterton, Sebring, Sandown, Oran Park, all across the world. And now we finish up on the Brands Hatch Indy. Of course, this is picked by last season's champion, which was Pete Newman. Now, the question about Pete Newman at the moment is whether or not he's going to be able to take this season's championship. Now, currently at the moment, he is out in front, and Carl Ridley does have a mathematical opportunity of catching Pete. You can see Pete there on 1,241, Carl Ridley on 1,205. Now, primarily, they are the only main two contenders for this Pro Championship. Sam Van Alst is a little far back, and unfortunately can only knock in that third place depending on what happens with him and Carl Hardy. Now, in the AM situation at the moment, Derek Crowther and Danny Kazar are the only two that can win the championship. There is 30 points between Crowther, there is 30 points between Kazar, and they are the only ones who can win the championship. Now, in the team standings, in the pros at the moment here as well, the situation is this. iRace Esports on 1,651 with Win It or Bin It on 1,540. Team Gold winning on 1,527. So from iRace Esports, they will need to take a win here to try and basically hold on to that team victory in the pros. Alan McCain and Sam Smith will need to try and finish ahead of Carl Ridley and John Bailiff at some point in the evening. In the AMS, Blade Designs 1569, DHD Simsport 1566. So DHD, Daddy Kazar and Mark Chappell. Blade Designs, Derek Craver and Stuart Gibbons. So these guys have got to still go at it for this final race of this season. The pros, the AMs and the teams in both categories are still up for grabs, and they are still available to these guys here as well. We do have Pete Newman sitting at the top of the standings at the moment. Dan Mould, Adam Delmont, Sam Smith, Jono Johnson and Carl Hardy. Behind that, in the AMs, you can see Derek Craver, also of Blade Designs, mind you, is ahead of Danny Kazar from DHD Sim Sport. Now, you've heard me ramble on long enough. Let's bring Callum into the booth as we approach into near enough the last 5 minutes of qualifying. Callum, good evening.
Good evening indeed, and slight correction, last 5 minutes of practice. But
oh yes,
looking forward to... That's all right. Looking forward to seeing these guys go out once again for the final round of the season. And like you say, we've got some tight battles up the top end of the table. No doubt some tight battles towards the back end of the table as well. So all over, it should be a good night of racing. Obviously, Brands Hatch Indy circuit does bring nice, clean racing as well. So it will be very enjoyable to watch these guys go around here tonight. And I'm sure we'll be treated to a lot of fine action, especially that first turn at high speed.
Yeah,
that's going to be a very interesting turn on the first lap.
Yeah, down through Paddock Hill and up into Druids, of course, where the number 11 car is at the moment. That's Carl Ridley here as well, as he's got, I believe that's the 24 of Charles Kellerman right behind him at the moment here in practice. It is going to be a difficult circuit. Now, there's nothing to this circuit whatsoever. You know, the short track is literally a right again, a left, and a long right, and then you're back doing it again, right? And that's it. That's basically simple as yeah. But at the end of the day, it's going to be difficult for these drivers. Now, cold tyres through Paddock Hill normally results in one thing, and that's in the kitty litter on the outside there.
Yeah, I mean, seen many cars go wide there, both in general racing categories and classes, all from the fastest cars around Brands Hatch to the slower end of the spectrum with these Clios. So every car is more than capable of going off there. And I tell you what, when they go off, as much as you don't want to see incidents, it's always spectacular when these cars go off, because it doesn't tend to be just one on its own beach itself. It tends to be one on its own, bouncing off the wall, or sometimes two or three cars at once. So there could be a bit of carnage tonight, and I think that will take a toll on some of the championship standings. So hopefully there's not a bit of a mash-up going on, and yeah, hopefully it doesn't affect those battles too much, but I think we will see that it will, unfortunately, here tonight.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a tough one. I think with the championship still up to grab, Crowther, Kazar, Newman and also Ridley, I think overall it's going to be tough. Welcome in, Stuart Rice. Thank you so much as well. Oh, Callum Ams of the famed lower AM category. Yes, the man invented himself. Jamie Dangle there as well. Good luck all the SRL lads, Jono Johnson and Dan Mould, in this evening's race. So let's see how these guys all get on at what is planning to be a very, very tricky, tough race circuit, and many of them, and Adam Delmont shows you how to get out of the kitty litter there, but that is probably what we were just about talking about, Callum.
That was indeed, and that was quite a good save as well, because that kitty litter, like you said, is quite deep down there as well, so it's not exactly something easy to carry momentum through, and Delmont's just shown us a very good example of how to carry that momentum. So they've done absolutely a wonderful job there getting out at a decent pace, but normally it will kill all your speed and you'll be crawling back onto the track. So yeah, it's a good job by Delmont there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing as well, and it's how you recover from them incidents And Adam Delmont did a great job of managing to keep on it there as well. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to continue doing that one as well. Now, a little bit of news kicking off here on the JPB YouTube channel. Sign-ups for the Clio Cup Season 3 will open up by the end of the week. Okay, so it should be by the end of this week, bar any problems. Season 3 will open up. We are going to start again on the 28th of August. So the 28th of August will be the commencement of Season 3. Now, we've also got some big news coming up referencing the GT4s, but we are just putting Craig Jones is working hard in the background, Callum, putting the schedule together for the Clios. The GT4 one has been done, but again, I'm not going to tell you what the situation is with that one, but it needs to listen on Wednesday. But the Clios should open up by the end of the week for Season 3. Okay, so it will still be 10 rounds as well. So keep an eye on www.jpbbroadcasting.com or get yourselves in the Discord, which are links down in the description below. So hopefully we should see some of these gladiators that we've got here at the moment out on track again next season. I'm sure it's going to be a good one there as well, and one that I'm looking forward to, Callum, as we enter into the 3rd season of the JPB Clio Cup.
Yeah, it should be a right good laugh out on track with these cars. To be fair, I've had some great moments all throughout the season, whether I've been in the booth or the Mighty Fletcher's been in the booth. Nonetheless, it's been fantastic, both from a spectator's point of view and a broadcaster's point of view. Some of the action that we've been treated to this season with these Clios has been absolutely wonderful. Looks beautiful on the eye as well as they get around a lot of these tracks in such a graceful manner. We don't get it wrong, there have been some little slips here and there, you know, with a few collisions, but you're going to have that on some of these smaller and tighter tracks. There's a lot of cars out there as well, so it's expected. That's all part of racing, it's all part of the fun. So a fantastic season it's been so far, and obviously a lot more to come as well, you know, for those that do sign up for next season.
Yeah, definitely. We have just entered into quali, so here we go. 10 minutes of qualifying. Let's see what these guys are going to be able to do here and who is going to set the pace. Well, Pete Newman, as expected, is out on the grid, out on the track first, closely followed. I believe that is actually Dan Mould behind him in the number 80 there, with the 73 behind that. As well, which I believe is Carl Hardy in the 173, I should say. But battles up front could be between Newman, could be between Mould, could be between Ridley. It's going to get tight here, but they've got to be a little bit sensible as well. Fast circuit, not many corners, and at the end of the day, we've got 26, I think it's 25 cars on track.
Yeah, good amount of cars out there on the course, and you can see that when they do spread out in their groups around the course, it is quite a constant thing of just cars going by. So if you were in the stands here at Brands Hatch tonight for this Clio Cup, you'd be like watching a tennis game that's awfully one-sided. Your neck would just be going right to left and back all the time. So it'd be like watching a tennis match on fast forward ×4 or something, because you're going to struggle to keep up with this action. It's just car after car, and you can see the trains coming around now. There is a bit of a gap between the first car out and the last car out, but I'm sure in the race that will be a lot more evenly spread, and well, the whole track will be occupied with cars. There won't be one section that has no traffic on, I think, by the time we get to these races.
Yeah, Carl Hardy is topping it on a 51.8 there. Bailiff goes in second on a 52. Mould in sixth on a 52.6 here. Derek Crowther on a 52.143. The leader of the AMS currently at the moment putting on a stellar job and a great time here. There's still some more people who haven't gone over the line. Danny Kazar, as is one of them, puts himself into third on a 52.071, and importantly, he is ahead of Derek Crowther. However, we got Dan Mould setting purples now, who's down in ninth at the moment.
Yeah, not not the greatest start for some of these drivers, but I'm sure as the laps come in, the tyres get slightly higher temperature, things will get better there as well. But obviously, they do have unlimited laps. They got this 10-minute window to just get as many in as they can, and obviously the best one will be picked from that. So it's not like they've got to do it within 2 or 3 laps. You know, they have got time to really work on this, and well, hopefully some of these drivers will find those gaps in the traffic that they want to have some clean air and to get the best lap in that they possibly can. But great start for Crowther at the minute, though, in the qualifying. You know, P5 sitting quite nicely, looking very fast as well. But Danny Cassar isn't actually that far away, so things are going to be tense between those two because it all is on the line tonight.
Definitely, Pete Newman's hoping to get a time on the board here. He hasn't got a time. I think there was an off-track involved in his first lap. What is Newman going to be able to do as he goes over the line, goes into pole, 51.475. The man literally is an ice machine. He is incredibly calm, incredibly confident. And if you ever want to watch how to come through a reverse grid, watch Pete Newman. He does it with like taking candy from a baby. Adam Delmont here as well. He's got greens on the board once again for that next gen racing liveried machine, and Delmont stays in 5th on a 52.088 here with no real improvements. Kazar's gone from 3rd down to 11th. It just goes to show how quick it can change here, Callum.
Yeah, it does change drastically, and well, the person that's actually managed to jump Kassar is Godden, and he's gone up and only gone a slight bit quicker, but still, that is enough to obviously jump a good amount of positions there. You know, you only need to find maybe a 10th and you'll find yourself up another 5 positions around this track, because there's not many places to gain time. Plenty of spots to lose it though, but there's not many spaces for you to really try and claw back some time and get higher up the grid. So you just got to try and keep this thing as smooth as possible, keep that momentum up there around this track, because it does get quite fast flowing, apart from obviously turn 2 into as we go through Paddock Hill Bend on the car number 21 here. This is the corner that I was on about. This is probably the slowest part of the track, and then after this it's very Druids, that's the name. I couldn't think of it to save my life, but once they go around this corner, then it is very much just keep that momentum as high as you possibly can, because there's not many other slow parts of the track. It is a bit more open, and these guys obviously can use a bit of the extra give on the outside of the track there as well. So it's going to come down to momentum in this, and I almost want to say that the times in qualifying are kind of sort of, I don't know, I'd say meaningless in a way. Like, yes, you want to get the position over the other people, but at the same time, there's going to be so much change on the grid, especially leading into turn 1 on the first lap. It's going to be a bit of carnage, so it's mainly just about staying vigilant and keeping your eyes open about what's in front of you.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think that's going to be one of the interesting things. Dan Mulder did manage to jump Pete Newman and take pole on a 51.446 there, as I believe that is Newman. It wasn't Newman, it was somebody in the basic, near enough looked like the same livery there. Maybe Carl Ridley went off to the side of the circuit there as well. Carl Jacklett is sitting in 10th place. Roger Morton's back on track here. He is in 17th at the moment. And Sir Alan Toon, after his great result last time out at Watkins, where he actually claimed a podium in the AMS there for Alan Toon, and 5th overall as well. An incredible job from him. He's down in 23rd place here currently. We're trying to keep an eye on what Kazar is going to do as he comes over the line. Is he going to get near Crowther? He kind of needs to be near or nearby him there, Callum, to basically challenge him over that first lap, because for Kazar, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, it is. You've got to just throw everything at those cars ahead of you now, because you really want to. I know I said qualifying position didn't really matter, but for Kazar, obviously he wants to be as close as he can to Crowther just ahead, but there's not much time between them. There's only 2 cars between them as well, so there's not a lot in terms of grid position between the two. Yeah. But it is just purely going to come down to who can stay out of that carnage in turn 1 at the start of the race, because I think that's then going to set some people's positions, because I don't think we're going to see a ton of position changes, but we're going to see a lot of battles, I reckon, for positions.
I think you probably are going to be correct. I think there are going to be fights up and down the field here as Sir Alan Toon looks like coming over the line for his potentially, I think, first or second time lap here at the moment. He has done 6 laps previous to this, but I think only a couple have counted, bar some off tracks there for Alan Toon. And he stays on the bottom, does improve on a 53.816, but he stays on the bottom of the timing screen. Mark Chappell is also in that DHD Sim Sport car as he heads round Graham Hill down the Cooper Straight. Let's say down a Cooper Straight, it's more of a slow incline up the Cooper Straight, and then round it into Surtees and then McLaren Corner, which is this top right-hander, which they're entering now here as well. So a stellar job from Mark Chappell is on track currently at the moment with about minute 20 left of qualifying. Good evening, Phil. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us as always here for the final round of the JPB Clio Cup with myself and Mr. Mileham in the booth, who gets the pleasure of joining us for the final round as well. So yeah, there you go, Callum.
Yep, future Lower Am champ this Wednesday.
Lower Am.
Forward to that. So
I
don't know what your problem is with that. I capitalised on your mistake.
Yes, but you just made it up completely on yourself. You know,
there's a banner for it, so it must be legit.
No, there isn't a banner for it. You made that up as well. Just like you're making up your own trophy.
I haven't made it. By the way, I've got this trophy.
Already got the trophy.
I haven't sitting behind. Well, I'm guaranteed to win the championship, James. I've got it. It's ready. So when I win the race on Wednesday, I've got it here with me. So I've got my trophy ready, and I'm sure some of these guys out on track will have theirs soon as well. But I've already got mine sitting next to me at the minute. It's in my window, loud and proud.
You're the only one in that category, so of course you're going to win it.
Exactly. It's the only trophy I'm going to win in my racing career, so I'm going to hold it loud and proud.
All right, mate. Well, there we go. We have come to the end of qualifying here, and let's bring you up the grid for race 1. Dan Mould took pole position. Pete Newman in second. Carl Hardy, Sam Smith, and Adam Dalmont round out your top 5. John Bailiff. And then we got Jono Johnson, Carl Ridley, Duncan Murray, Derek Craver, Carl Jacklett, Sam Van Olst, Danny Kazar, Paul Godden, Stuart Gibbons, Alan McCain, Andy Littler, and Mick Barry rounds out the top 18. Then on from that, you got Roger Morton, Charles Kellerman, Daniel Lewis, Mark Chappell, Chris Dixon, Sir Alan Toon, and Ollie Ricks. We got no Mini-Me here this week. He is currently went on a jet plane earlier on to Germany. So Mini-Me is in Germany at the moment, so he won't be here for the final round. He has talked about next season, so we'll have to see if Mini-Me signs up for next season as well. But currently he is in Germany, doesn't return until the 20th of August.
Dankeschön for that information.
No worries.
Appreciate that. Hopefully we do see him on the grid next season, though, because he had a couple of good races, to be fair, from what we've seen so far. So fingers crossed we do see him return to the grid once again.
Yeah, he has shown an interest in it. I think that's the thing. He has shown an interest in it, and he's done well, and he's improved a lot, and, you know, took a second at Twin Ring East in the AM category. So we'll just have to keep an eye. And any man that gets superlatives and compliments off Pete Newman, you know they're doing well there as well. So, yeah, Pete saying how well he has done made him feel absolutely amazing at the same time, as you can probably imagine. So we are going to be lights on for the first heat as well. 20 minutes. No reverse grid set by Quali. Join us for race 2 very, very shortly. But 5 lights. And now we are up and running. Dan Mould, Pete Newman, Carl Hardy, Sam Smith, Adam Dalmont, as they were currently as well. Carl Ridley is the only man to gain 1 place here, and Jono Johnson takes that place back down. So nobody here, apart from Carl Jacklett, has actually gained a spot. Going up into Druids for the first time here. You can see that Schooner Clios. There's a car off. That's Stuart Gibbons. Gibbons is in the gravel. Littler's off at the same time as well. Kellerman looks like he's just been put round. And unfortunately, a little bit of carnage there as well. Ridley's off. the championship contender is off. He is off. And I've got a funny feeling that's probably the end of that one here in race 1, Callum. So close, so far, done before he's even gone anywhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was mentioned a couple of times, and it may or may not have been my fault that I said hopefully these incidents don't interrupt the championship battle, but lo and behold it has, because I have a curse that I bring around with me into every booth I go to. So unfortunately they have succumbed to the curse there of myself. Hopefully they can try and gain some positions back, though. There is obviously the reverse grid and things that are in play, so let's see if those guys can claw their way back up the grid and try and capitalise off of that. But at the minute, Pete Newman is only 3 odd attempts just behind Dan Mould. Dan Mould looking very strong around Brands Hatch tonight, so he's having a good job so far, so not a bad job for the front 8 really. It's all been fairly clean up there and quite close together as well still.
Out of Delmont here now with Sam Smith, Carl Hardy, Bailiff, Johnson, Van Holst, Jacqueline and Duncan Murray. Duncan Murray has been back. They have scheduled electricity where Duncan is from in South Africa, so he is good for this race. I still, that absolutely baffles me. They send you out a schedule to tell you when the electricity is going to go off. It's absolutely incredible. But Duncan Murray there has got electricity and is now fighting out with Carl Jacqueline. This is going to be a tough one. Neither man gives an inch here. For Duncan Murray and Carl Jacqueline, they literally do not give an inch, and that is why they don't.
Definitely no inches between them two, that's for sure, as they come together there on the bottom of the hill. But unfortunately, I think that's going to be a situation we're going to see quite regularly tonight, because these cars aren't really going to want to give each other space. The track isn't exactly the widest in the world, so there's not a ton of room to defend or attack really, and especially in the area where they just committed to that, there's not much to give or take there, so it's bound to end up with contact or door-to-door at least.
Yeah, I want to try and see what happened to Carl Ridley here currently as well. Carl, did he get a tap? Did. That was one of the Team Goldwings. Was that Duncan Murray there again that may have just got himself involved with that Carl Ridley incident, number 33 there, and it was Duncan Murray. So Duncan Murray and Ridley having a coming together, Murray and Jacqueline. So Duncan Murray has not been the greatest of starts here currently at the moment, but we'll see what happens here as well. So Carl Hardy fighting out in 5th place with Sam Smith in front, John Bailiff and Jono Johnson behind. Nice little battle developing here from Hardy here and Sam Smith, as iRace Esports of course going for the win in the team championships, and Sam Smith is going for a ride. He did manage, he hit the tyre barrier, and unfortunately for Smith at turn 1 he has gone off there, Callum. So we did expect it to happen, and there's somebody else in the background, I believe that may have been Ollie Ricks, doing the same thing at turn 1 as Sam Smith just did. So there we go.
Yeah, very interesting situation there, but I have to admit, these guys are all a bit of contact there between Ollie Ricks and I think that was Littler, and there's more contact there in the background as well between Lewis and Littler. So those two had a bit of door-to-door as it was going around that turn 3. But your leaders at the minute coming down through Paddock Hill Bend, then not giving much there. The two cars bouncing up on the inside curb. They're still going to be Dan Mould, Newman, then Delmont, for the top 3. So not a bad start, or well, first sort of 5-ish minutes of this race for these 3 at the top, especially for Pete Newman, who's managed to keep right on the back of Dan Mould for the entire time, even through some of the carnage that we've seen on the track so far.
Yeah, definitely top 10 reverse here as well. So currently your pole man will be Alan McCain for race 2. Crowther and Van Holst have just swapped positions here, but now this is it. It is Kazar and Crowther fighting out in the AM Championship. There's 30 points between them going into this final round here. Crowther needs to have a bit of a disaster though for Kazar to have any chance of taking that championship away here. He's either got a Proston center him, or he's got to try and get past him and pull away. But Crowther's been quick all season here, Callum. I'm not expecting it to be a walk in the park for Danny Kazar, should we say?
No, and I mean, to be fair, the driving skill and the ability of these two drivers and what they've put in this season, it shouldn't be easy. There's no reason why it should be at all. It should be the most difficult race that both of these drivers have ever had, because obviously there is a trophy on the line. You know, there is that promotion to the pros as well that is going tonight. So this is something these guys really do want, and they really do need as well. So it's not going to be an easy race by any means, but they've certainly both got to do an absolutely brilliant job to try and come out on top of their opponent.
Yeah, Sam Van Olst on the right-hand side there. Crowther's on the inside here with Kazar trying to follow Crowther through. He cannot give Crowther an inch of room. He needs to kind of sit there as tight as possible. Don't take it through. Why, Danny? That's never going to be good for you opening up here as well in that championship fight. You need to just stay with Crowther as best as you can and try and, you know, get past him in some shape or form. It's going to be tough. We're only literally nearly 7 minutes in here. I can't believe we've only gone for that short period of time. We're already on lap 8. These guys have been absolutely super duper quick around here. And currently at the moment it is Dalmont, Newman, Dalmont, Hardy, Bailiff, Johnson, Van Olst, Crowther and Kazar. So it's all about what Kazar is going to be able to do here with Derek Crowther. Can he get through? That's going to be the question, Callum. Only Danny Kazar can answer that for us tonight.
He certainly can, but the question is Van Olst holding up Crowther a little bit here in terms of pace? Because obviously they were all slowing down when they were going side by side for almost an entire lap between Van Olst and Crowther. So that possibly going to come into play. We'll see what happens, but there is a gap now forming between the Pro and Am driver there, Van Olst and Crowther. Crowther does have a tasty pack behind him though. You've got the likes of Danny Kazar, McCain and Godden all involved in that, and then Sam Smith just a second off of that group. So really, he's got quite a bit of pressure on him to see all those cars in his mirror, not just Kazar, his championship rival, but all the others behind him as well. He may not be battling for points as much, but he certainly wants to keep in front of them to keep Kazar at bay.
It definitely does. Back up front, Dalmont still got Pete Newman right behind him. Adam Dalmont's coming up fast like an absolute freight train at the moment as Dalmont is currently trying to get onto the back. This could be a three-way fight as we go into the last 12 minutes here. Dalmont, Pete Newman, Adam Dalmont, they're all going to come together at one point. I am sure of that, because Adam Dalmont is just quick in general. Newman is speedy. Dalmont on his day can beat anyone. So from these guys' perspective, it's all going to be, how about they take this part of the race? How are they going to cope with this part of the race? How are they going to deal with this part of the race? Because we're in that middle sector now where tyres are getting a little bit slippy and things are starting to make it a little bit difficult. You know, you've gone round almost like a NASCAR oval here at Brands at the moment, just spinning constantly round and round the circle. So you could be getting fatigued or just brainwashed out of it as well. So there's a lot going on in these little Clios for these three guys up front.
Yeah, certainly is. There is a lot that comes into play, and it's like you said as well, you know, it could be fatigue or it could be just getting a bit too comfortable with the track and losing a bit of that concentration, because I have to admit I do suffer from that quite badly, where I'll get to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable, I know where I am, know what I'm doing, and I'll get too comfortable and miss a braking point or something along them lines. That'll be a slight little mistake that you never want to happen, and that will cost you so dearly. And in a situation like this, as tight as it is for both Pro and Am in the championship standings, that's the last thing you need. So these guys really must have either had a big dose of caffeine before this or a lot of sugar just to keep them buzzing and going, so they can keep wide awake and make sure they're fully aware of their surroundings while they're going around here for what is going to be 3 quite lengthy races. You know, 20 minutes around this short version of Brands Hatch. As you said, you know, it feels like we've been racing longer, but because the laps are only 50 odd seconds, obviously it does take a few laps to get around to complete this race. So there's a lot of time that these guys do have to sit in. It's going to feel longer. Obviously the laps are slightly shorter, so it'll feel like a much longer race than 20 minutes.
Yeah, it definitely will. Paul Godden with Sam Smith. Smith just passed Godden there. Danny Kazar has been off track, but he's come back on as well, so he's probably just touched the grass somewhere there, and down Mould is still now with Pete Newman. 11 minutes remaining. Mould goes over, takes the line away from Newman. Newman's just got to tuck in there at the moment. He's got to follow. He hasn't got a lot of choice. He's got to look for the run out of Paddock Hill. Can he get it into Druids? Can he nip it up the inside? Because there isn't many other places you can really make an overtake on Brands Hatch Indy, Callum. You know, you kind of got to get it into Druids, or you're there for another part of a lap.
Yeah, if you don't get it up into Druids, the only other places you could potentially mount an attack here, but getting that exit speed on top of your opponent isn't going to be easy. As you can see there, the cars stayed in exactly the same position. Not much time given or gained there at all between those two turns. But this is the only other place I can really see you getting a good chance to get an overtake done, which is on the home straight leading into Paddock Hill Bend. So leading into Paddock Hill Bend and then the exit out of Paddock Hill Bend, they seem to be the two hotspots for this track in terms of overtaking. That's where I'd certainly try and make my move anyway, as I thought Pete Newman was going to make a move there. But this is the area where I'll be trying to do it, James.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it is that run out of Paddock Hill up into Druids. He's got to be looking at trying to make that move. He's got to be tucking up behind him as best as he possibly can. Adam Delmont is closing, and he's closing quite quickly there. Jono Johnson has got John Bailey for company at the moment. This is SRL and Win It or Bin It, of course. They've got to be fighting it out down now. I believe they're 5th and 6th in class, with Bailiff starting and being where he is at the moment. And Johnson's up 2 positions, so a stellar job from them guys. It's still Crowther, but now Crowther's managed to jump Alan McCain as well, and now McCain has got basically Kazar behind him. But more importantly for Crowther, he's put a car in between them. So from Crowther's point of view, we can now push on to some Sanvados. For McCain, he's just got to basically try and keep Danny Kazar, or finish in front of Danny Kazar to stop him getting at Derek Crowther at the moment. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot riding in this for these drivers.
There certainly is, and it'll be interesting to see whether these positions will hold and what gaps will close up towards the end of the race. Obviously, Pete Newman and Delmont, they've closed the gap up big time to Dan Mould, and they're going to be tight probably until that final whistle blows as we approach the 13th minute of this race.
Final whistle? Yeah, are we playing football all of a sudden?
Well, to be fair, it seems
like
all my references seem to lead towards football. I think it's because I watched too much of it, but it's either final whistle or on the ref's mark. Yeah, I could use checkered flag, but it doesn't spring to mind straight away, you see. Or squeaky bum time. I do like to use that quite a lot, so that's a common one in my book. Squeaky bum time. That was an Alex Ferguson quote, that was.
Well, yeah, I just wondering how we got, the final whistle when we're on a racetrack. And I'm not looking.
There's whistles in the crowd, James. There is whistles in the crowd, my friend.
Okay. I'm pretty sure we haven't got crowd ambience in iRacing though. I think it's just probably a list of other stuff at the same time that people are trying to get here as well. But I think from this perspective though, with Dalmont, Newman and Delmont, you've got 3 drivers here who are literally nearly totaling 15k between the 3 spread. Not slouches, clearly know what they're doing here, Callum, and that's the thing for these guys. They're not going to do anything stupid up front as they would do as if they were fighting in the mid-pack. Now, by the mid-pack, we are obviously talking about Kazar, Smith, Jacqueline, Godden, and then further back we've got Gibbons having a good old scrap at the same time. But when they've got an average of probably round about 4.6k, they ain't no slouches.
No, not at all. I haven't even got a quarter of what they have, so yeah, I can't really say much there, but they're doing an absolute brilliant job. And like I say, the experience is going to come into key factor, and obviously they're not going to make any silly moves that might compromise their races, because there are other races to go. And what Newman and Delmont do need to remember is they're technically going to have the advantage over Mould in the second race. So if they don't get what they need done here, then obviously there is other races where they could get that job done.
Yeah, Sam Smith sneaking up the inside of Danny Kazar there. Took a lot tighter exit out of McLaren and then down in through the Clark curve. And Sam Smith is going to have that inside line for iRace Esports. Drop DHD. One more back there as well, away from Derek Crowther. So Danny Kazar's definitely got to go for it here, because otherwise he's going to struggle once more as well. And that green car behind him, that is Carl Jackley. That slight blink of an internet there is not going to help the situation for Danny Kazar, because that will be a very fearful moment for Kazar, especially when you can't find a driver behind or in front.
Yeah, especially that. And, well, talking of traffic and things, we have Dan Mould approaching some back markers here, and one of them's gone for the weight reduction system to delete the boot of the Clio. So there's that interesting look there. But they've gone past quite nicely as well. The back markers have been made aware that they had these faster boys coming up behind them. They pulled over to one side and let them through nice and safely. And, well, we can resume the race and resume how close things are as well between Pete Newman. That time has not changed from the moment we started here. It's still within a couple of tenths. And just as I say that, it is starting to close down now.
Yeah, Newman's got that inside line of McLaren as they're going to be coming round Clark. That's going to give him the inside line down the Brabham Straight and down into Paddock Hill. That Mold's got to try and keep his foot in. He cuts in front of Adam Delmont there. Delmont didn't really have anywhere to go, and nearly with basically about 3.5 minutes remaining, Pete Newman takes up the mantle. Now, it's going to be difficult for Pete because Dan Mould could do the same to him, and Adam Delmont can as well. So it's always going to be difficult. But Crowther is here with McCain fighting out. But these three leaders, or these three front packs that have been up the front most of the race at Callum, are still going at it even when they've only got about 3 laps remaining.
Yeah, certainly, and well, they're doing a great job at this so far. Delmont is trying to mount an attack on Dan Mould there, and unfortunately didn't quite get it done. Can't really find the inside line there either, so he's not going to get the move in on the final turn. Yeah, it's fantastic to see, 17 odd minutes in, and these guys are still going hammer and tongs at it, and still trying to fight it all out right up until the checkered flag. There we go. So I remembered that time.
Well done, you. Remember, we're not in a football game. I'm proud of you.
I think that deserves another trophy, to be honest.
For what exactly?
Just remembering my lines.
Oh, okay. Your lines, like we're scripted, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I've got a few lines written down here to try and refresh my memory. So, because otherwise I'll keep quoting random things and you'll think, how on earth does that tie? So, I have got a few lines noted down here and I keep forgetting to look at them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Race
so I deserve a trophy for that.
Oh, okay. Right, well, one man that does deserve a trophy as well is Pete Newman. He's out in front now by 1.2 seconds already. Adam Delmont and Dan Mould fighting out. Then you've got this Sam Smith, Alan McCain, Danny Kazar, Carl Jacklett, Paul Godden battle, which is from 9th all the way down into 13th at the moment. And I think, as we're going to be looking at now, there's probably going to be one and one more here this evening for the first race of this Clio's. We'll have a brief 5-minute warm-up before we get into the next race as well, and that gives everybody a chance to go and have a break and do whatever that people do during the breaks. Me, I don't really sit there and have a cup of tea. What about you, Callum?
I pretty much do the same, except for I have a pint of milk, me. I'm very much a massive milk fan, so at any given time I possibly can, it's sprint downstairs at incredible speeds you will never ever see in your life, and sprint back up them. I run that quick up and down the stairs, you'd think I'm Fletcher in a McLaren. I am super quick. When it comes to milk, I am super quick. I'm there in a flash. As soon as someone mentions that word, I'm there. I'm a pint glass out, ready to go. So that's what I tend to do on my 5-minute break. So I get that, come back up and spend the 4 minute and 58 seconds that are left sitting in my chair, drinking away on my milk.
And there we go. Barney waving. This is the final lap of the race here. Newman is coming down now through Graham Hill into the Cooper Straight before he goes up to the left of Surtees and then right into McLaren for the final time. What about Delmont and Mould? Mould's on the defensive here. He's got to shut that inside line. That's how he lost that place to Newman. But Newman is going to come across the line and take the victory in the pros here as well. And I'm going to probably say this is probably going to wrap up the championship for Pete Newman. He had to get a win on the board. He did do that. Dan Mould in second, and then Adam Delmont in third. In the AMs, It's more important for the fact that Crowther's going to take the first victory, and I believe after this first race, that's probably going to wrap it up for Derek Crowther, unless Danny Kazar pulls out something truly amazing over race 2 and race 3, and then Paul Godden from Sim Life and Simstickers, our major sponsor here this season as well. Go and check them out at simstickers.co.uk or simlife.co.uk as well. Lots of products for all of your sim rigs here, and a great bunch of guys here as well. So massive shout to Paul for sponsoring this season as well. Jono Johnson here finished in 5th place. Dan Lewis, Stuart Gibbons is over the line, so we can be shortly bringing you up the results from Heat 1. And here they are. It is Pete Newman out in front. Your victor, your winner by 1.8 seconds in the end over Dan Mould, with Adam Dalmont just behind him. Carl Hardy in 4th, Jono Johnson 5th, John Bailiff 6th, Sam Van Holst in 7th. Then Derek Crowther takes the victory in the AMS for Heat 1 in 8th place. Sam Smith 9th, Alan McCain 10th, Carl Jacklett 11th, and Danny Kazar, Paul Godden 12th and 13th. Your final podium positions in the AMS. Carl Ridley, disappointing 14th, with Roger Morton 15th. Mick Barry, Ollie Ricks and Andy Littler. There are your basically 16, 17 and 18. Then we've got Mark Chappell, Stuart Gibbons, Dan Lewis, Charles Kellerman, Chris Dixon, Sir Alan Toon and Duncan Murray, who finished at the back end of the field there as well. Right, we've got about 4 minutes remaining. We'll leave you nicely on a little bit of a dynamic, scenic picture here of Brands. I need to go and refill my drink. I think Callum's going to do the same, and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Okay, guys, we are back here with 2 minutes left of the warm-up, and basically there's not many drivers out on track. I wasn't expecting anyone to be out on track, to be blatantly honest. But if that's the start of the evenings of racing here, Callum, I think, to be honest, Heat 2 and 3, we now go into a top 10 reverse for Heat 2, and we're going to do a top 20 for Heat 3. It's going to be absolutely incredible, isn't it? Because there's some very quick drivers in that top 10, and the likes of Dan Mould, Pete Newman and Adam Dalmont coming through as well. It's going to be tough for people.
It certainly is, and obviously, like I say, we saw some battling that round in the first race, but there wasn't so much of a ton of overtaking in a way, from my opinion. So I think we were right there, about bang on the head with that, where there's going to be a lot of battling, but not a ton of overtaking. I think that could be the case in this race as well, even with the reverse grid on the cards. I mean, you know, one thing to look at is look how many cars are between Mr. Crowther and Kassar. That's something to notice there. And what is the... Do we have a little live update on the situation of points? I know you said that Newman has probably got it wrapped up in the bag now, but in terms of the AMs, how are we looking after the AM win for Derek Crowther?
Crowther is now going to be ahead of Kazar. I think, to be honest, Crowther has probably wrapped it up with that first win. So from his point, he had a 30-point gap to Danny Kazar, and Kazar is obviously sitting in second in the championship. He finished second overall as well in the race. Now, the thing they've obviously got to be looking out for is how they stand within the point system. In obviously the first heat, they get 60 points. So Crowther's shot up there. Danny Kazar will get 55, so that's another 5 points, so that's 35-point gap he's got as we go into the consolidation and feature. Don't forget there's 180 points up for grabs this evening, so if Crowther takes that, he's pretty much going to wrap it up here and once more. So for Crowther, he would then be promoted up into pros next season as well. Phil, unless you're buying that, there is never going to be a mini fridge in the JPB office. Never. Unless, of course, I find one on Facebook, because there's always one on Facebook. People seem to get rid of them all the time on Facebook here. So, yeah, maybe I'll pick one up once more as well. But Alan McCain is on the front row as we are going to be up and running for this grid for race 2. Deck Crowther, there's no Sam Smith on the start, and we are underway here. Alan McCain, Derek Crowther, Sam Van Olsen, John Bailiff battling it out, and then of course your previous winners behind that of John O'Johnson and also Dan Mould with Pete Newman once more fighting it out as they're going to be going up into that Druids for the first time. Are they all going to make it through? What's going to happen at the back here? They do all make it through this time around, and once more we've got Adam Delmont off the side of the circuit at the moment. He's now back on and still back and racing. He's sitting in 8th place, hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down. Pete Newman's gone 1 as well. Dan Mould has gone up 2 here. So Dan Mould's flying at the end of lap 1 here, Callum, and everybody else is trying to play catch up.
They certainly are. I will say though, Delmont seems to be a speciality. He has that skill locked in his locker tightly, because every time that man's gone off track tonight, he's managed to keep his momentum up and still managed to gain time on the car ahead by, you know, not by a lot, but still, nevertheless, he's managed to do it every single time. So fantastic there.
Oh, Crowther and Van Olst had a little bit of a lean on each other there, going through Paddock Hill, down, up, down and up into Druids. I can actually say that because they do go down and up. John Bailiff fighting out behind him. Where is Carl Ridley at the moment as well? Ridley's in 10th place, up 4 places, so he's got a bit of a mission on his hands. He's got to try and get past Newman. Newman's just basically got to finish in front of him race after race here, and as I say, I think Newman will pretty much wrap this up. Alan McCain's opening up a 1.7 second gap there. Ollie Ricks has taken a trip off the circuit as well. Deck Crowther down 1, sitting in 5th at the moment. You know, I know Deck picks his battles here with the pros, but just on the end of this pro battle, there's Danny Kazar. He can't afford to be too picky, can he?
Yeah, I mean, you have got to be careful. If you let too many cars by, then the battle does really come down. But who knows? I mean, Deck Crowther could actually be sitting there and actually want that battle, because that is someone that he should be fighting. So maybe he is more comfortable with just dropping back a little bit more. But I don't know. Things are going to get pretty tight between these guys. There's now only 3 cars between Crowther and Kazar, and make that 2. So it is coming down, and well, Crowther will certainly be driving in his mirrors very soon, I imagine, with Kazar reigning even closer to Crowther on this lap here.
Yeah, the interesting thing is whether or not Crowther noticed Kazar coming. If Crowther doesn't notice Danny Kazar coming at him, Kazar could sneak through here, and he could just gently slip on by. You know what I mean? He could just say, see you later, and he's just followed Carl Jacqueline or somebody else through as if he was just another car. Crowther again has lost that other position to Ridley. Ridley is now still following up with Newman. Here comes Kazar now. He's trying to go around the outside of Crowther. Gave him a little bit of taste of what he's going to expect here. But from Danny Kazar's point of view, you know, he needs to rely on Carl Jacqueline getting past Crowther for him to be able to have a go at him, because I think Kazar's going to be chomping at the bit here when you can see that car in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, oh, contact there, big contact, and that is Danny Kazar that's gone around on the infield there. as he gets back on track. But there's contact with the green and white Upcool car. I think that was Carl Jacklett. Yeah, just corner to corner, and unfortunately that spun Kazar around, and Kazar's got the worst end of that.
I want to see if there was a movement. Oh, not really sure on that one. Got to be honest, not really sure on that one.
It's very unfortunate because we were in for a very good battle there between Danny Cassar and Dec Crowther. That was building, the tension was getting up, and then unfortunately just seemed, I'm sure Cassar's not going to be happy with that. He'd probably feel like the world's against him at the minute with that spin, unfortunately. But hopefully you can try and gain some positions back. Let's have a little look. He's sitting P4 in the AMs at the moment, P15 overall. So he's 5 places off of Crowther at the minute, so there's a lot of time to make up there, and because we didn't see many overtakes in round 1, it's not going to be an easy job to do.
It definitely isn't there as well. Carl Hardy down Mould, Pete Newman fighting out. Hardy on the left hand side, Mould's going to slip out the inside here. Is Newman going to follow him through as well? We might as well. Hardy's left the door open. Newman slips through once more. So Newman and Mould are on the back of each other following with Carl Hardley, and then you've got Carl Ridley trying to have a go here as well. He needs to get onto the back of Newman. We know that situation as well. Newman obviously just needs to finish in front of Ridley. He's probably wrapped it up, so I think safely say Newman probably will wrap this up. But Alan McCain has not got this wrapped up with John Bailiff here for the front of this field with Jono Johnson and Sam Van Ulster and Adam Dalmont all in this front 5 pack here. And Alan McCain, the man from Northern Ireland, he's got to be kind of feeling the pressure at the moment, because he's got John Bailiff, Johnson, Van Ulster and Dalmont all coming at him. Yeah, certainly. And, you know, McCain has got quite a lot in his mirrors at the minute, but the main focus is that clean air that's in front of him. He needs to just get his head down, focus on what's ahead rather than behind, and try and get that gap established between those cars, because you do have some quick cars coming up behind you. You know, you got Delmont, Van Ulst, Mould, Newman, just to name a few there, and Hardy and Ridley currently battling out at the moment as well. Those two are pretty quick and as well. So there's all these cars in the mirrors, and it looks like McCain's going to go side by side with Bailiff. Yeah, they're going to get that run over the line at the moment. Bailiff on the left, McCain on the right, into the 6-minute mark already. And we're on lap 8 again, and it is Bailiff does go and take that lead over Alan McCain. Jono Johnson fighting out as well. There's battles all the way through the field. Paul Godden still going at it here with Danny Kazar, Stuart Gibbons, Ollie Ricks, and Mick Barry is a further second and a bit back from them guys. Newman, Hardy, Ridley, we've already done that. We can pick up on the front 6 a little bit in very, very shortly here. But Paul Godden is got Danny Kazar behind him. Kazar needs to, I don't know what he's going to do basically. He needs to go and evaporate off to the front of the field at the moment, because Crowther is running away with it and is sitting in 10th place here as well. Alan McCain going back at Bailiff side by side. Down that first start-finish straight into turn 1, into Paddock Hill they go. Bailiff on the left, McCain on the right. Is McCain going to send it around the outside? Brave, but is he that brave? He's not quite that brave there, Callum. And to be honest, any man that would have been that brave probably would have ended up in that gravel trap. I think if you're going to be that kind of level of brave, I think you've also playing on the line of death as well. You've probably got that big skull man behind you in his big black cloak, poking you on the shoulder, and Mr. Death himself was probably following these cars around turn 1 there, sort of waiting for one of them to make a move that could end in absolute disaster after some what we've seen, some good pressure and battling so far between these two. But luckily, like you say, they didn't go for it, and well, it'll be interesting to see if over the next lap or two that move is going to be taken, because you've got Johnson coming up behind now as well. They're all kind of giving each other a few little shunts and nudges to kind of pick the pace up a little bit. So they're going to go side by side once again into Paddock Hill Bend. Yeah, Johnson and McCain now side by side dropping down the hill. Johnson's going to have the inside for Drewis. There's Dan's in the background, down Mould there with Pete Newman. Delmont's going to try and follow down Mould through, and I think that's the thing, when you start opening up the corners here, they do end up catching on to the back of each other, don't they? And then it's just a basically a train of cars coming past you. You're off the racing line. We've seen it many times before where you go and lose one position, but then you end up losing a different position as well, because you end up losing more because you're pushed off that line and you can't get back on it. And that's always the fear of basically being able to race that closely, isn't it, Callum? And I think that's the thing, you've got to be careful. You've got to have eyes in the back, the front, the middle and the side, because you lose one, you could end up losing 4.
Yeah, exactly. And certainly on a track like this, you don't want to be making any mistakes that are going to lose you positions, because like you say, you will lose not just one, you'll lose multiple, as Alan McCain loses a position there to Adam Delmont that comes around. And it looks like Dan Mould's going to try and take advantage. Doesn't quite get it, though, on the outside line. He's going to have to settle back in behind Alan McCain. And, well, they'll continue in that single file line at the moment as it comes round midway through lap 11. Almost halfway through the race here, and some fantastic action that we've been treated to so far. Bit unfortunate for McCain that he's down 3 positions, but he's certainly giving it his best shot at the moment and trying to hold off those cars that are still behind him.
Yeah, exactly. Mould now climbing all over the back of McCain as well. He's going to want to have a go with Newman Hardy. Crowther is still ahead of the DHD of Danny Kazar. Of course, Kazar got in an incident with Carl Jacklett, let's just call it that, and it is sitting 3rd at the moment. So for Danny Kazar, he's a long way away as well from Crowther. So it depends, obviously. Crowther's got to have a horrible 2nd and 3rd race, right? He's got to try and kind of, you know, Crowther's point of view, he's got to go and bid it, throw it away or do whatever, but he ain't going to do that. Didn't jeopardise his race as well by letting all the pros through. He knew where Kazar was, knew what he can defend against the Kazar, and he's done a stellar job with it. And I think Crowther, if he is going to be an AM champion, which I'm probably strongly believing that he will be, a fully deserving champion as well. He's done a great job this season.
Yeah, it's like I said, during race 1, Dick Crowther and Kazar, you know, those two are just 2 names to mention out of a fantastic lineup from the AMs, but they've all done an absolutely wonderful job this season, and some great pace all throughout as well. And well, it's not going to be an easy drive for any of these guys here tonight. They're going to be they're battling the best of the best, really, that the Clio Cup has to offer. So nothing's going to be given easily there, as Johnson and Delmont aren't wanting to give any space between those 2 cars whatsoever. They're still going side by side now into the final turn. Dan Mould also getting involved there as well. You can see Dan Mould's actually gone up the inside. There's a bit of door-to-door contact. I think Johnson may have got a bit of corner-to-corner contact there from Mr. Mould as he came through. And well, it looks like, I would say they're all going, but one of the SRL cars is off, and that's Mr. Mould.
Mould's lost all of his car. He didn't just lose the back end there, he's lost part of the front as well. Oh, that word that we don't like using, but you've seen it there. They got hooked up together, and unfortunately for Mould, he shot off the other way. There's the initial, there it is, the initial netcode incident, shall we say. And unfortunately for Mould, he shot off at the last corner there as well, going around Clark. So I'm sure from Mould's point of view, he'll be completely unhappy about that situation. But just as much as we are when we're looking at things that isn't anybody's fault, is it, at the moment, Callum? And it's just one of the things within iRacing.
Unfortunately, that is, you get it in no matter what simulator you use in terms of racing, though. Each one has its own kind of issue like that. Obviously, iRacing has a notorious net code, but all kinds of different simulators have all kinds of different issues that often crop up that you wouldn't get if you were sitting behind the wheel of an actual Clio. Obviously, in the general races around like some fantastic tracks like this one that we see here, but unfortunately that is one of the things about sim racing. You know, it's just one of those things that we do have to deal with, and well, these guys have done a fantastic job this season so far doing that. Obviously, fingers crossed, all the best with Dan Mould, and hopefully maybe he can claw a position or 2 back, but it's not going to be very easy on this track at all. He's still in the pit, bearing in mind at the moment as well, so if he does do race 3, he'd have to put in a hell of a performance to try and gain some of them positions back. But he has the pace, so he could do it.
Yeah, and here's the top 20 reverse. So at the moment, Sam Smith, who's in 20th, fortunate for him, will be on pole. Carl Hardy has got a mixture of cars of Alan McCain and Adam Dalmont behind him as well. Hardy going on the defensive on the left-hand side. You can see Newman trying to slip up the inside of Jono Johnson. They're leaning on each other. Dalmont's trying to have a go at Hardy here. Hardy's going to have the inside as they drop down into Graham Hill. Hardy takes the nose off Dalmont. He's going to try and prevent Dalmont's cutback. Dalmont didn't quite get the cutback he wanted. What about Newman and Johnson? Newman's going to pull the same move over Johnson that he did on Mould in the first race. He's going to come up the inside, bully him off that inside line, say thank you very much, and he's going to take second there as well. Unlucky, Dan. Yeah, it definitely was there, Mr. Dengle. I'm not going to lie. And as you can see, there was clear netcoat contact between the two of them. Carl Hardy and Adam Dalmont. Dalmont's going to have that inside line here, Callum, and it looks like he's going to take fourth place away from Hardy.
Yeah, looks like he certainly will do, and he has done. 1.2 seconds up the road to P3. It's not like out of reach at the moment, but it's certainly not knocking on the doors. We've still got cars go side by side through the top corner there, as the 212 car is kind of just in front of the side by side action there, and just behind him you've got Ridley and Van Alst that are kind of battling it out as well, and well, you got Crowther just on the back of that as well, and Cassar's P13 in a minute, so he's still in the rear view by quite some distance as it stands, but anything could change. You know, we've still got 5 minutes of racing to go, and what a tight 5 minutes it will be, especially between this pack of three on your screen.
Yeah, definitely. We've got Morton and Jackalit out, fighting it out here over the line. These guys are going to go as well. 5 minutes on the clock for everyone to assess their situation, assess where they want to be, and assess on how many points they want to take. Danny Kazar there has just lost a place to his teammate Mark Chappell. Not an ideal scenario for Kazar. Chappell goes up into second. Kazar comes down into third. Wasn't really making an inroads on Crowther. For Stuart Gibbons, though, however, he could do Crowther a massive favour here. Get in front of Kazar, put him down a position, and then for Gibbo, that's it. Should be Crowther's win after this race.
Yeah, it certainly should be, and he's going to try and do his best to get in front of Ollie Ricks to then have that car of Danny Cassar just ahead of him. But rooting for Stuart Gibbons, because I do have a little bit of a soft spot for the guy, because he is running my personal favourite number as well, number 47, and he will be my or will be technically my teammate, as we say, in the GT3s coming up, so looking forward to that as well. But he's doing a good job overall at the minute in the Clios anyway. P15 overall, not too shabby at all from him, but he needs to catch up to Ollie Ricks to try and do that teammate special.
Well, yeah, that would be ideal here, but Bailiff and Newman, now Newman is on the back of Bailiff. He's got basically about the same, I feel like I've had deja vu here, 3.5 minutes remaining for Newman. I'm sure I said that in the first race as well. And Newman's now trying to nip up the inside of Bailiff. He's going to try and run him. He wants to try and get that set up, as he's always coming out of that last corner. He needs to kind of bully. What Newman does so well is he kind of reminds me of a squirrel with a nut. He just chips away, chips away, chips away, chips away, chips away, chips away. The nut cracks. Pete Newman gets the prize inside. Do you know what I mean? And that's what he reminds me of. And I'm sure he'll probably think, James, you just called me a squirrel. But do you get what I mean? He's just not rushing anything. He just chips and chips and chips and picks up places. He does his little bit, chips and chips and chips. Boom. Somebody makes a mistake. Pete Newman takes the lead.
I fully agree with you, and to be fair, normally I don't agree with some of the things that you do say, because I contradict them out of fun and enjoyment, to be honest. But I have to admit, I think you've got that spot on with the squirrel analogy there as well. You know, he is doing that the best way, and the best way and the quickest way on the track is to slowly chip away at these things rather than going for a one-punch move. Because if you go for that, say you are Newman at the minute, you go for that one-punch move as they go side by side through turn one, you could lose everything. You know, one slip up, and look what happened to Dan Mould. Unfortunately, there was a slip up, net code, but look how far down the pack that sent Mr. Mould. So it is the best way to do things, as Newman does take that lead. The nut has cracked by the looks of it, and he is out in front. He's got his nose just ahead of Bailiff, and he's got the race lead at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely has. Newman looks like he's going to take that lead again. He does, with 18 minutes gone here. He's got in too deep, Newman. As he became the squirrel, did the nut crack the squirrel? Well, we're going to find out here as he's going to have about another 2 laps remaining for Newman. They are 2 wide, 2 deep. They're here, Johnson and Delmont in the background. Is Newman going to try and run him around the outside? He drops down the hill, up into Druids he goes. He's on that outside line. Delmont's pushing Johnson on the outside line as well. Delmont's going to try and slip it up the inside here of Delmont. He's looking up Delmont over Johnson, and they're running side by side, and Newman does get it back again. Same place he got it back last time. They have literally gone side by side for nearly half a lap, if not more here, and still Johnson and Delmont are running side by side as well, and that is Carl Ridley in the mix. But Newman then does lock it up. He doesn't make the same mistake he did the lap before there. Callum takes the lead. On to the final lap he goes, and is this going to be another Newman win?
I think it's looking like that because the gap's already forming at 3/10. But I will say I was absolutely speechless there for the first half of that lap, because what incredible work and jobs that was from all those drivers there. You see Barney's white flag is out there on this time round. But yeah, amazing work. All of these cars side by side. Almost a bit of contact there between Bailiff and Delmont. They are going to be bumper to bumper. Delmont's going to be in a sandwich though, because he's got Ridley just behind him. And yeah, he's in a very tight sandwich at the minute. Not much space to breathe at all between those 2 cars. So it's going to be tense bringing it back across the line for Mr. Delmont being in between this teammate sandwich.
Definitely is, and is Delmont going to try and run it round the inside? Is Bailiff then going to whack the brakes on and allow Ridley to come up with him? They're going to bully Delmont out here. You can just see it kicking off there as well. Newman is going to come over the line. Here comes Delmont. Is he going to get over the line before Ridley? They're going to be right the way down. It is Delmont. Oh! McCain was also running over the line with Sam Van Olst as well. Literally split seconds apart. What about Roger Morton? Well, he's come over the line with bits hanging off his car. Unfortunately for Mr. Morton, Gibbons comes over the line as well. Mark Chappell, Sir Alan Toon, Chris Dixon, Paul Godden are still on the front side or the back side of the circuit, depending on what you want to say there as well. But great battle up front there, Callum, and an amazing job from all of these guys.
Yeah, fantastic drive once again, and well, just take the words out of your mouth. An absolute stellar job for some of these drivers out there. Newman, Crowther, obviously leading their battles at the moment, and a fantastic night that those 2 are having. Very unfortunate for Damold and Kassar that obviously both got earlier instance taken away their kind of race results that they wanted. But hopefully we can see something nice in the final race here tonight.
Yeah, here is the results for race 2. Pete Newman, your winner, 2 out of 2, and I think that's probably going to wrap up Pete being the champion. John Bailiff in 2nd, Adam Delmont 3rd, Carl Ridley in 4th, Jono Johnson 5th, Sam Van Olst, Alan McCain, and then Derek Crowther. 2 wins out of 2 for Crowther. He's pulled out now. He had 35. He's pulled out another 5 on Kazar, so that's 40. So could be possible, but yeah, tough. Jacqueline Hardy, Morton Kazar, Ollie Rick, Stuart Gibbons, Mark Chappell, Sir Alan Toon, Chris Dixon, and Paul Godden round out the top 18. Sam Smith, Andy Littler, Mick Barry, Dan Mould, Charles Coleman, Dan Lewis, and again, no Duncan Murray here as well. So, been tough races so far. I'm not going to lie, it's been very tough. But Newman, again, shows why he is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I still can't praise individual drivers. It has to be all of them overall, but all of these guys are absolutely incredible behind the wheel of these Clios, and amazing job all throughout the season. And to be honest, I can't really put into words how much praise they need for... Well, it's been a crazy season. There's been tight tracks where these guys haven't been able to really succeed as much as they would like, and there's been times where there's been a lot of collisions. There's been a lot of door-to-door. There's been a bit more trade and paint than what they would like. So it's just really nice to see that these guys are thriving on Brands Hatch here tonight, and it's a fantastic way to round off the season as well. What a fantastic drive from all these drivers so far. But one more to go, and then that is it, and that is the checkered flag for the final time.
Good job. I'm so glad you remembered that.
I'm getting good at this, you know. Anyone would have thought I've actually had a bit of practice.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. Check you out.
Incredible.
I know. What a stellar job. Yeah,
I'm getting close to having a full professional word. I'm just on prof at the minute. I just need the echelon on the end. So I'm getting there.
Echelon.
Yeah.
What, like
I'm only half a professional at the minute. I'm semi-professional. I'm trying to work my way up to the echelon part of the word so I can claim fully professional, but I'm not quite there yet, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay, plodding away, mate. Keep banging at that nut, and you never know what will happen. Choppy. Hello, Callum. Yeah, that's it. All he says.
Good evening. Hello.
Short and sweet and straight to the point. Hello. Right. Hello. Front wheel drive, poo low, only kid in respect to all these guys and these as well. Yes. Dangle, I think you should as well. Absolute stellar job. Right now, we are into practice. We've got about 1:45 before we then grid up for the final race of the season. Final race of the season. 10 weeks of racing has flown by this season. I'm not gonna lie, it's been absolutely incredible. So yeah, terrific season from all of these drivers, all 40 that signed up, all 25 or 26 that have finished off the season as well. And I know we've got some holidays and people have been away, and the summer's always tough for people as well, Callum, isn't it? They go on holiday and can't always make the racing.
Yeah, and not only that, obviously, I mean, today isn't really the best day to go off for the UK, but another thing that is tough for all these guys, especially this time of year, is the weather. You got to remember there is, as much as you think, in the UK, never extreme heat, but the heat is quite extreme when we do get warm days, because it is just a lot more stuffy in this country compared to heat in various different places, especially in Europe. The air is much nicer and much more bearable. You know, you can take 34 degrees easily, whereas you take 30 in the UK or even 28, it's unbearable. So, yeah, it's good to see that the weather was actually kind of nice and all these guys are able to get behind their rigs, because it's not exactly a cold thing to do. You do get very hot, very sweaty, especially those that use VR. I done a few races in my VR, and I tell you what, there was 8 Cs in the world, because the 8th one was in my bedroom.
Oh.
Yeah, it gets bad. It really does get bad.
Nice.
So I feel for those that use VR, but luckily it's a cooler day today, so these guys are able to do it. But I have to admit, when I was racing in the Clios myself, Monday nights, as much as I love racing in the Clios, I always dreaded it, because I always knew I was in for a hot race, because it's just 3 races and it was just really hot and sweaty. But to be fair, when the weather plays in your favour, or you've got a nice aircon or fan, it really works out well.
Yeah, it does. Here is the grid for the final race of the season. Andy Littler in front, Sam Smith in second, Paul Godden third, Chris Dixon fourth, Sir Alan Toon fifth, Mark Chappell 6th, Stuart Gibbons 7th, Ollie Ricks 8th, Danny Kazar in 9th, Roger Morton 10th, Carl Hardy 11th, Carl Jacklett in 12th, Derek Crowther 13th, Alan McCain 14th, Dan Van Os 15th, John O. Johnson 16th, Carl Ridley 17th, and Adam Delmon in 18th. Then, of course, you've got John Bailiff, Pete Newman, Mick Barry, Dan Mould, Charles Kellerman, Dan Lewis, and then I don't believe Duncan Murray is going to be here. So he is there, but he registered for possession, but not going to be on track, I very much doubt. It's now all on Andy Littler. What is Littler going to be able to do here from the front of this grid? Can Alan Toon get another top 5 finish as well? Because that would be absolutely amazing if Alan Toon does get another top 5 here. The final race of the season, 29 races gone, and this is race number 30 of the season, and we are green. Andy Littler, Sam Smith, Paul Godden, Chris Dixon, Sir Alan Toon, and Mark Chappell. Technically here, Callum, your money should be on Sam Smith to run away with it, being the only pro in the field. He is looking like he's going to try and take the lead as well. Mark Chappell was plummeting down the order there, faster than an elevator with no brakes. There's a spinner at the back as well. Mick Barry's off the side of the circuit. Sam Smith does take up the mantle as well. There's a lot of hustling and bustling. That's Carl Hardy going off the side as well. He's going to come back on track as well. But race free, bringing race free things here, Callum. People spinning all over the place. Danny Kazar is off as well, and unfortunately for Kazar, he's dropped all the way down the order, and that's not going to do him any favours. There's an incident on the straight with Chris Dixon and Dan Mould here as well, and I'm not entirely sure what that was all about, but they've just ended up going off as well together. Little bit of a bizarre start, Callum, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, some know it as dancing on ice, others know it as Clio's on ice, because that's certainly what it looks like at the minute. Dan Mould going off there into a couple of Clios, manages to keep it back on track, relatively smooth as well. So fantastic job there for Dan Mould to keep that car looking so steady after rejoining the tarmac. But yeah, like you say, there's a bit of carnage going on everywhere, really, isn't there? So, you know, Chris Dixon, Mark Chappell off into the pits.
In the wall.
Oh no, does that affect the points? That's the question. Is he still in front? He's still in front of Kassar. Kassar's B20. So 5 positions behind Crowther at the minute. So it's still working out in Crowther's favour, but hopefully there's no long-lasting damage on that vehicle.
Yeah, definitely, because otherwise that would be horrendous for Crowther if he did manage to lose it in the final race. I've got him 45 points ahead at this moment in time here. I'm not going to worry about the Newman-Ridley one, because I've got a funny feeling Newman's already wrapped that up there, and a job done for Pete Newman is going to be through and win and victorious, shall we say. So
James?
Let's see. Yes.
Toon is in P3.
In the AMS.
He is. He's in P3 once again.
Yeah,
he's on a rumble.
Yeah, he is, but can he get his top 5 finish? He got finished 5th overall last week.
He did, but technically, you know, he was on the podium for the AMS as well. So I'm just saying, if he can get another P3, I'm backing Tooney next season for a little trophy. Yeah, I'm backing Tooney.
Jono Johnson there with McCain side by side, doors swiping each other. That one, Van Olsen in front of that as well, and then Carl Jacqueline going side by side here with Carl Ridley. Ridley on the left-hand side. He knows he needs to get up a little bit further, but I don't know if it's really going to matter too much when you've got Pete Newman in 11th, and I believe that may have been Andy Littler shooting off the side of the circuit. Van Olsen's gone round. Now, was that all on his own? Or was there contact with Jono Johnson? There was contact with Jono Johnson, and Jono Johnson just comes and unfortunately for Van Olst, he got caught up in it. Yeah,
unfortunately, incident. It's just one of those cases where you get collected, and there's not much you can do from that point onwards, sadly. And well, especially with the amount of Clios that we've got going around this track, it's very easy to be collected in an incident or two around this circuit. There's not much time for these drivers to react, and especially heading up into turn 2, there wasn't much time there for those cars to react either. And well, there's still really close battles going on at the minute, especially coming down into Paddock Hill Bend here with Littler and Mould going to bumper in there. Alan McCain just behind that as well. Mould going towards the outside now of turn 2. Littler's going to have the advantage. Mould's gone round. And looks like contact between, was that Newman or was
Bailiff.
that?
Newman and Bailiff.
Oh, Bailiff, that was it.
Newman and Bailiff there. I think Newman went up the inside of Bailiff. Mould got himself hung out on the outside there. Andy Littler trying obviously as best as he can here to try and have a race. Alan Toon's just lost that place to Crowther. He's just lost another place to Gibbo. So unfortunately for Tooney now, he's down in 5th. Littler has lost that place to Newman. Is he going to lose another one to John Bailiff? Is Dan Mould going to try and follow him through at the same time? He doesn't. He tucks up behind Andy Littler this time. Mould then looks at the inside. Mould's going to go through as well, and he does do that. So Mould is now up into 9th place plus 13. Biggest gainer so far, Carl Ridley up 14 places.
Yeah, Ridley's not done a bad job whatsoever. Fantastic overall position as well. P3, not too bad whatsoever, with Carl Jacqueline just behind that though. So a bit of defensive work here for Ridley. Should go down an absolute treat. try and extend that 3 tenths to a second or two. Hopefully, as you can see, the rear left locking up there for Carl Ridley as he comes around to complete his lap number 6. Complete lap number 6 on to lap number 7. So not a bad podium spot at the moment, but Carl Jacklett is going to be looking to put that pressure on, I suppose, in the next few laps or two. That Crowther has managed to push up into P3 for the AMS, P14 just in front of his teammate Stuart Gibbons in P15. And there's a bit of I think Littler may have had an off track because he's now fallen down the grid.
Well. Tooney's off as well, I think. Oh, tyres, get it back on before that tyre barrier. Well done. This actually might have been a freeway here. Bailiff went off. Mould follows. Bailiff gets out of shape. Was there contact? There wasn't. They just kind of tunnel visioned each other off the side of the circuit there, unfortunately. And that's easily done because I've done that myself.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, these cars are normally fairly easy to control, but sometimes they do get a bit squirrely, and when they do, it's not the best thing at all, and it's not easy to keep control of, because a lot of people say slam on the brakes, I'll spin it back around, but sometimes it doesn't actually help. It makes things 10 times worse. So you got to be careful with what you do out on track, and like I've said a couple of times this night, one mistake that could lose you 4 or 5 positions. So you got to be very careful with what you're doing out there on track, and you can't lose any concentration or have any off tracks or spins, because you could find yourself towards the back of the grid.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing when they're racing so closely as they are now. Ridley, Jacklett, Dalmont, Johnson. Johnson and Dalmont have closed down on the Jacklett-Ridley battle in front. Paul Godden in second place at the moment, doing an absolute stellar job. Now the question is, can he hang on for 13 minutes when you've got the likes of Carl Ridley, Jacklett, Dalmont and Johnson coming behind you? Always a tough one, but put your head down, Paul. Go for it, son. You've got this here as well. Jacklett now loses that place to Dalmont. Dalmont goes up the inside as well and sets after the Carl Ridley. And then all the way down here, we've got Sam Van Olst having a good old go with, I believe that's Alan Toon, actually. So I wonder how long Tooney can hold up Van Olst here, and whether or not he's going to be able to prevent him from taking that position away. Van Olst does look like he's hit a lamppost, and it didn't last. Tooney had a go, couldn't do there as well. But for Carl Ridley, there's Paul Godden now. Godden could be under attack very, very shortly.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the times as well. So Paul Godden's last lap time was a 52.54. His time before that was a 53 flat. So he's actually improved by half a second this lap round. So Godden's actually had a very good lap there, because that puts him on his last lap time only a couple hundredths of a second ahead of, behind the car of Carl Ridley, as him and Dalmont go side by side. Now that's going to hang those two up a bit and sort of dry themselves out in terms of pace. They're going to make it 3 wide.
Up through Surtees. Ridley did get a slight little bit of contact from Jacklett. Johnson's gone up the inside of Jacklett there. Jacklett tried to turn in. Johnson was already there. And now Newman's on his way through as well. So Pete Newman hanging near Carl Ridley. And I think that's the thing for Carl as well. He kind of needs Newman to have a mare. And Newman's not having a mare. He's doing what Newman does best. Passing the field, player by player. Now you got me thinking of football. Driver by driver by driver.
I don't think that's my fault at all about the football. I don't know what you're on about there, but these guys are having a fantastic time out on the pitch as they come around once again on lap 11 at the minute, with Carl Ridley sort of trying to get back onto that podium spot, 4 tenths behind. So not much at all, but he needs to try and get that position back at the same time as not battling too much, because they want to try and catch Godden if they can, because both of them could potentially profit from that position, because that time has come down over a second now over the last couple of laps between the car of Dalmont and Godden. Obviously Ridley and Dalmont have swapped around since we started talking about that catch-up game, but once these guys do catch up to Paul Godden, it will be a question of, can Paul defend well enough to hold these two cars off, because they do have the pace on him, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, he's just lost 2, 3. It'll take about 3.6 seconds out of Delmont since lap 7. We're only on lap 11. We've just broke that 10-minute mark. As much as I love for Paul to take a second overall, I can't see that happening. But I've only feeling there is going to be a swamp of Delmont, Ridley, Johnson, Newman, Jacklett, maybe even Mould, swooping past Paul Godden here. As much as I love the guy, and as I say, he's an incredible person and everything else, I just think not stupid enough to try and have a battle with the pros. He will just kind of, if need be, let it go. He's just lost another second there as well. I think from Godden's point of view, pick your battles. If you don't need to pick it with these guys, just let them go.
Yeah, the one thing he's got to remember as well, he's currently leading the AMs. I know it'd be nice to get an overall podium spot, but you're going to get a podium for your AM class as well, so there's that to remember. But a double podium wouldn't go down a miss for the last race of the season. So I think Paul Godden is in every right, and he should give it an absolute good go at defending these cars behind. He's got quite a long time to do it, but he's got to give it a go as Adam Delmont goes up the inside, and that's now going to bring in Carl Ridley into this battle, and Carl Ridley's going to gain as well and try and get up position. He's going to be up the inside at the moment as the back marker lets those cars through. Still side by side up the home straight though. Can they get it into Paddock Hill Bend?
Yeah, I think Ridley's going to have a go at the inside of Godden. He is. Ridley's going to take the position away. Next up will be Jono Johnson, Pete Newman, Carl Jacklett, Dan Mould. But down the order, Charles Kellerman is battling it out with Danny Kazar here. These guys in the AMs, of course. Kellerman from Optical Green, Kazar from DHD. And the sorry thing for DHD at the moment is both blades are in front of them. And we know that that has championship connotations? No. Trying to think of the word. Anyway.
I'm useless here because I only delve in simple English, so I'm no use to you at this point.
It affects the championship. There you go. If DHD finish below Blade, though. But Carl Jacklett doesn't want Dan Mould to finish below him, and Jono Johnson can't make it past Paul Godden at the moment. Godden is trying to defend for his life. Johnson, well, that's definitely going to be an off track. As well, but Johnson is going to go up the inside. Godden goes on a defensive there as well, quite late, mind you. I want to just keep an eye on that because that was slightly moving in the braking zone. There wasn't any straight run of Godden there, was there? He was a little bit diagonal.
Just a little bit, but that's a straight line if you look at it from a different angle.
Yeah, I know it is, but still.
If you look at it from the spectator's angle behind the fence, that was a straight line.
It was, definitely. But from Godden's point of view, it's just got to be a little bit careful here as well. There, I get the racing, I get the scrapping, I get the having a go, don't get me wrong. But yeah, just watch your braking line a little bit there, dear sir. He's trying to head over. Johnson is going to get through as well. Newman's going to send it free wide coming up the hill. Johnson is going to go through. Newman's going to go through. I got a funny feeling Jacklett and Mould are both pushing out on Paul Godden. Godden still going down the inside now here into Graham Hill. Dan Mould on the outside, sweeps round. He's on the grass. Oh, over the bump as well. And Paul Godden comes back in front of Dan Mould. Oh. That could have not ended well. I'm not going to lie on that one.
Yeah, it could have been an absolute catastrophe in the last race of the last round of the season. It's not what we want. We want now a fun and nice end to what has been a fantastic season, and hopefully we're going to get that. Hopefully these drivers are loving their time out on track as well for the final time this season. A wonderful track of Brands Hatch as well. Jono Johnson is giving it a good old go at the minute. P4, he's got a tight battle with Pete Newman though, and it's not an easy car to keep behind you, especially after the momentum of 2 race wins here tonight. It's been an absolute wonderful job for Mr. Newman, and a great way to cap off his season. That really does show you what he has done throughout this season. Really, that's a good landmark to go from. But he's got to try and find that little bit extra something to get past Jono Johnson.
Yeah, I think Pete will have a go as best as he possibly can here. Is he going to be able to try and run him around the outside? Well, time will tell. He's going to try and tuck up on the inside. He really needs the inside for Paddock. Because if he gets the inside for Paddock, he's going to have the inside for Druids. And if he can do that, then he is going to be odds on. Should be. Oh, no. Where are you? Did he hit? He hit the wall. He hit the wall. Oh, he caught the grass. Nothing he could do there. Loses his bumper, Callum, and unfortunately for Newman, not ideal on lap 18.
No, not ideal at all. And if I was not imagining it, I think he just gained 20 miles an hour by hitting the wall as well, because he seemed to go quicker after bouncing off than what he did going into the wall. So that was an interesting scene there.
At certain points as well, because I read a post the other day that a guy said, if you want to go faster in ER80s or something, scrape up the wall. And I was like,
yeah.
Huh? And apparently...
Yeah, that's what we just saw there from Newman, I think. When he hit the wall, he seemed to come much quicker out of it on that replay, which I found quite amusing. So that's a very interesting scene.
Definitely. Carl Hardy, Roger Morton. Hardy has just gone past Morton there. So, then Morton nearly ends up spinning Hardy. That wouldn't have gone down too well. Stan Van Olst still battling away with Charles Kellerman here. I don't know if Van Olst has got damage, but he's going to try and nip up the inside. Kellerman comes over, covers him off here as well into the last 3.5 minutes here, Callum. Well, this is it. All or nothing.
It is all or nothing indeed. We've got a couple of cars off track there, and I think that's actually the back marker of Chris Dixon there in the light blue. So he's probably done it tactically to let those cars by. But it is very much all or nothing now at this point. So these cars really do need to go all for it. And well, there are still one or two tight battles out there on track, and there's still a lot going on in the championship standings as well, not just for the leaders but all over the table. So these guys will race their little hearts out for the last couple of minutes until Barney waves his flag for the last time this season in the JPB Clio Cup.
Yeah, is it? Believe it or not, they have done 29 races. 3 a night, times that by 10, I make that 30. This is the 30th race of the season, which you would not believe, but it is true. Newman is in the pits. He is in the pits. I'm guessing he's probably going to get his fast repair done, and he will be back out momentarily, as if by magic he's on his way back out. So Newman there still should manage to hang on to the championship. I don't think it's possible now for Ridley to get close to him, as is Crowther, who's finishing ahead of Kazar again here. And again, I think Crowther is probably going to wrap this up as Sam Smith comes around and starts the penultimate lap here with down mold Carl Jacqueline.
I think the moment of silence actually fit perfectly during that incident, actually, James. I think we needed that, because that's a very unfortunate time and situation to get that incident in the last few minutes of the final round of the season. You can see Dan Mould and Carl Jacqueline coming together there. Unfortunately, both go spinning out of control off the track. But Paul Gordon has still done an absolute brilliant job. P5 at the minute, 4 tenths in front of Bailiff, so he's not done bad whatsoever. A fantastic job here tonight, but we're in the last minute now of the final round as your leader comes around the final turn.
Sam Smith will come around and get Barney. Barney will wave the white flag at him now, and there he goes. Barney's waving, and Sam Smith is off for the final lap of this evening here as well. And if I'm not mistaken for Sam Smith, that is his first top 5 in the pros. That's his first podium of the season, and he's gone and done it by a race victory. Great job. Well, if you're going to do it, final race of the season, go and get your first podium as well and your first win, and to be honest, wrap it up Sam, you've done an absolutely stellar job. Led from start to finish as expected, Callum, as we did say as well that he should do. And Sam Smith goes and takes the victory here at Brands Hatch Indy. And Adam Delmont in second. Was it Carl Ridley coming over in third? It was Ian Ridley there in the pros. In the AMs, it looks like Paul Godden did manage to hang on to that 6th place overall. Carl Hardy coming across the line there with, I believe, that is the number 7 of Jacqueline. Stuart Gibbons and Andy Littler, your final podium position there as well. So, yeah, tough race, great racing though as well. And I think we could probably safely say Derek Qualver and Pete Newman are your champions of the season.
And what a season it's been. Absolutely brilliant job. And just confirm for me, James, so I'm not misleading those watching at home. Wow, okay. Am I right in saying that the AM of Deck Crowther will be promoted to Pro? Is it just P1 or is it P1 to P2 they get promoted?
We have looked at a top 3 promotion here as well this season, because obviously the likes of Danny Kazar is in there and also Mark Chappell, but we think it will just be P1. I think we are just still debating on what's going to be the best way around it here as well, so we'll see what happens over the next weeks and we'll let you know who and what. But here are the results of the final race of the season. Sam Smith is your winner. Adam Dalmon in second. Carl Ridley in third. Jono Johnson fourth. John Bailiff fifth. Paul Godden sixth. Alan McCain seventh. Carl Jacklett in eighth. Carl Hardy ninth. Stuart Gibbons 10th. Andy Littler 11th. Derek Crowber in 12th. There with Newman in 13th. Morton 14th. Sam Van Ols 15th. Charles Kellerman 16th. Dan Lewis and then Mark Chappell. And then on from that one, below Mark Chappell, we've got Danny Kazar, Sir Alan Toon, Chris Dixon. Bad day for DHD Simsport there as well. Sir Alan Toon, Chris Dixon, Dan Mould, Ollie Ricks, Mick Barry, and Duncan Murray. So, yeah, great racing from all of these guys. And let's have a chat with the man that took the AM victory in race 3. Done an absolutely stellar job. Paul Godden, welcome in, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, hi, James. I'm good, thanks.
P3 in the final race of the season. Not a bad end for you, surely.
Yeah, no, it was. I had a bit of an incident in race 2, which put me right at the back of the grid, and I was trying to get 20th place, and I was 21st, and then eventually, I don't know what happened, but a couple of cars come together, and I thought, oh, it's all falling in my place, and I can get a reverse grid. Started P3. Got a blinding start, and then I was just holding on and trying not to get in the way of the pros, because they were about a second a lap quicker than me, and it wasn't really my race to get involved too much with them. So I made them work for it, but not too much. So
yeah, and that's exactly what I said up here in the booth, Paul, is about that you know, you're not no stranger when it comes to racing, so you're not going to get yourself involved if you didn't really have to there as well. But you did defend stoutly, so you know you kept them behind you for a good few laps. Has the season kind of lived up to your aspirations, Paul? Have you got to where you wanted? Because I know you set yourself goals every season. So have the goals been ticked off for this season?
Some races they have, some races they haven't. Overall, it's been a great season, and I feel that I've learned a lot about the car. Got a little bit quicker. All my goals I set each week, I try and like tonight they are. I set all my goals to finish in the top 3 in the at least one race, and I managed to get, I think, 3rd in the first one and 1st in that one. So that was in the AM. So it's all about the classes tonight and get a good finish. I was a bit annoyed about race 2, but I haven't watched it back yet, so I need to watch it back. But if it wasn't for that incident, I wouldn't have a good race 3. So everything happens for a reason, and it's just one of them things. And I don't hold anything against Stuart. We've had some good battles this season, and I think it's really just 2 cars into one didn't quite go. And when I was struggling with the car round clearways as I was, I don't know what the other guys are doing to get it to turn in, but I just can't get it to turn in on clearways tonight at all.
Paul, thank you so much for joining us and sponsoring this season as well. For the final time this season, though, Paul, is there anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to shout out to yourself and Callum and also your admin team for putting on a great broadcast and also a great series to be part of as a driver and also a sponsor. Secondly, I'd like to thank all the drivers throughout the field, the ones at the front, the ones at the back that have learned and hopefully had a really enjoyable race, and hopefully they've had some personal goals that they've managed to meet as well, which means they're going to look forward to hopefully future seasons racing with everyone again, because it's been a cracking season and the racing's just been fantastic throughout the whole season, and I think it's been really good to be part of. And lastly, for Wayne, my teammate, because he's really pushed me on this season, because he's been a little bit quicker than me, and it's been great to bring a second car to the championship. And yeah, I'm looking forward to future seasons as a driver and possibly a sponsor as well. So
awesome stuff. Well, much love from myself as well, Paul. I'm sure we will catch up with you very, very shortly. But thank you again for sponsoring this season, and hopefully we might see you on the track next season.
Yeah, hopefully I should be back. I'll be back next season on the as a driver, and then we can just see if we want to go ahead with the what I'm going to do with sponsorship at the moment. But obviously, I will be making some little trophies for the winners again, like I did last season, and I'll be in contact with all of them over the next few days to sort out those trophies for everyone.
Awesome stuff. Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining us there, bud, as well. Take care, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers.
Right, now we're going to have a chat with Danny Kazar here as well. Needed to finish ahead of Deck in at least 2 out of the 3 races, if not the 3 out of the 3 as well, and unfortunately didn't manage it this evening. But Danny Kazar, welcome in. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit battered and bruised from all the pros just attacking me at every opportunity. But the best man won tonight. You mean he's been fantastic all season. So yeah, I did what I could in the first one. I got past and thought we'd have a bit of a race. And yeah, just I made too many errors all season and Deck won. So I think the best man won.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Deck goes up into the pros now. We can't stay down in the AMs forever. I know, as much as he'd love to. But he does go and venture off into the pros as well. So, for you, could next season, if you're looking at coming back, could next season be your opportunity, Danny, do you think, to take the AM victory?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you look at the way the points have gone this season, I probably should be promoted as well, because there's quite a gap behind me to the next set of AMs. And you want to keep it interesting. You want guys to at least go into it feeling they've got a good shot. So, yeah, if I do come back and you feel I should be in the pros, then that's what you do. It's no skin off my nose. I'm not fussed. I want the best for the series, to be honest.
Yeah, and have you enjoyed this season, though, Danny?
Yeah, I've loved it. It's been great. I mean, like I say, tonight I've not enjoyed so much. Yeah, I feel I feel a bit abused tonight. But yeah, on the whole, the racing for me has been fantastic. I know everyone has their down nights and everything else, but everybody, on the vast majority of people, do try and race clean. We all make little errors and lock up. I mean, I locked up in one race and it junior, you know what I mean? And it happens. So yeah, we roll on and remember it's a video game.
Exactly. Well done, Danny. Thank you so much for joining us there, bud. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
You guys with the great stream. I mean, obviously, Paul, Simstickers for sponsoring the series and everything else. And obviously, Jack Wirral for not helping again.
He never.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was going to be my Carol Vorderman tonight and tell me what was going on. Did he turn up? Did he? Hell.
Oh.
So I'm not turning up on Wednesday. I'm going to go and wash my hair or something.
Yeah, he did say that he did turn up on the Monday and you turned up on a Wednesday. But Jack, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But what he didn't tell you, right, when he turned up on the Monday, he was playing Assetto Corsa. So he wasn't really helping me. He was just chatting every now and again.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Right. Well, take a breather on Wednesday, mate. You have a night off.
Oh, I will. I might go in and help Deck.
Oh, mate.
Try and help Deck beat Jack. So.
Okay. Well, good luck with that one. Let me know how you get on there, Dan. And I'll catch up with you soon, buddy.
No, thanks a lot, though, guys. And
mate.
hopefully I'll be around next season.
All right, buddy. You take care.
Bye, boys.
Right, and now we're going to have a chat with the champion, Mr. Deck Crowther. I can't confirm how many points because my maths is not that good, but I did have him 40 points ahead going into the final race here as well. But Deck, welcome in there, buddy. Champion this year.
Thanks very much. It was a bit of ups and downs in it as well, so I was just watching my relative all night to see where Danny was all night. As he was behind me, I was smiling.
Yeah, I bet you was as well there, mate. You know, you've had great battles with Danny all season, right? To go into the final round where it's still open and anybody can win. That's got to feel good for both of you, hasn't it? Because you have been at each other backwards and forwards all season.
We have indeed, but unfortunately for Danny, he made the mistake right at the beginning of the season, saying he's here to win the championship. So I did my best to stop him.
Well, you definitely did do that, Deck, as well. But obviously, if you come back next season, you're going to have red on your car.
I am indeed, so I'll not be letting pros pass next season.
No, mate, you go for it, because you can mix them up, Deck, as well. I'm not going to lie. You can. Good race.
I can give as good as I get most of the time, so let's see.
Yeah.
On to the next one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely it will be as well. And we look forward to getting everything out to everybody very, very shortly as well. But Deck, look, congratulations on your championship, mate. Well done. Fully well deserved there for the final time this season. And anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Obviously, you guys for running this league. I've enjoyed it. Like I said, it's had its ups and downs. My teammate Gibbo, he's done well. I had a damaged car in that last race, so I just told him to go to get what you can get, and he did well. So, and obviously, and Barnsley as well tonight for doing a bit of spotting for me, telling me where Danny was all night, see how I had to do.
Okay, mate. Well done to you there as well, and much love, Deck. And we look forward to catching up with you soon, no doubt.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be in on Wednesday. See how I can do.
Yes,
Jack.
see what you can do. All right, man. You take care.
Thanks for that. See ya. Bye.
And next up is the man from Down Under. He come in second in the championship here as well, and he looked like he finished second in the championship. Carl Ridley, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us here, bud. Second ain't bad, though.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me.
That's all right, mate.
Second's not bad. Tonight, I knew I had to bid it to Newman, but I wake up not feeling too well, and just getting up super early, just taking its toll on me on today. I'm not trying to make racing excuses, but I was generally really off the pace, and I'm still happy to finish the 3 races, still have some good battles, got a podium in the end, finished the season off well, and at P2, I can't complain.
No, you definitely can't, mate. And you've had a great season overall, to be blatantly honest. Before you even went into this, this race, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, average start was 6th, the average finish was 5th. You've had 2 podiums. Numbers don't lie. And you, sir, have got some impressive numbers.
Yeah, I'm a racer, so I could take advantage of the racing situations, like that third race, for example, from I think it was P4, 15, 16 I started, and I was able to get up to third before the rest did. So, they're the races that helped me, but also they're the races that got me undone early in the season where I lost a lot of points. And today, being spun out on lap 1 of the first race didn't help because I just didn't have the pace to get back to 10th. But all in all, good season, and I'm really happy that you had me.
Yeah, how are you going to be back next season?
That is a question for another.
Yeah.
I've just started another UE league on Thursday morning, so I think getting up twice in the morning is a little too much. So I might skip one season. Plus, I want to retire the car.
Dump me. Oh, Ridley. But to be honest, mate, I fully understand. I don't know how you do it. I'm not going to lie. How you turn up, get up at 3 in the morning and then come and be competitive. You deserve a medal just for that one, mate, as well. But Danny, thank you so much. Carl, thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out for the final time this season?
Yeah, I want to shout out my teammate John. I think we got the team's points, but yet to be decided. I also want to thank the commentary team, yourself, Callum. I can see you in the Discord, and I just want to give a big congratulations to Paul Newman for actually winning the championship. He had no drop rounds, so every race that he did mattered. So congratulations, and maybe see you in the season after next.
Who won the championship?
Paul Newman.
Pete Newman.
Pete. I'm sorry. I know. I Paul Newman. So, whoopsie.
I
Sorry,
thought you were talking about the actor or something. Then I was like, who's he talking about? Paul Newman. Pete Newman.
I know 3 people with the last name Newman, not related. So it's just one of those days. But yeah, sorry, Pete. Congratulations.
Okay, go. You take care, buddy, and I'll catch up with you soon, mate.
Thank you. Bye.
No worries. Well, there you go, Callum. Another season brought to the end of the JPB Clio Cup, and I think you got to admit it's been an absolutely incredible season. 10 rounds, 30 races. What more can we ask for? Well, one thing you can ask for is we're looking at coming back, starting again in 2 weeks' time. So keep an eye on the Discord for sign-ups. If you do want to get yourself involved, head over to jpbroadcasting.com/Clios. I believe it is, and you can get yourself involved in some great league racing here as well. We've just started the TCRs. There is still spots available. Last week's was the media day due to technical issues with sessions not actually working whatsoever. So you can get yourself involved in that one. But keep an eye here as well if you want to get yourself involved in the Clio Cup next season. But Callum, final word from you for tonight?
To be honest, I'm almost speechless after what we've seen here tonight, and a fantastic way to round off an incredible season. I will just say, obviously, big shout out to the main commentator that isn't here tonight with us, unfortunately, but Fletcher has done a fantastic job all season commentating with yourself, so obviously big shout out to him. I was only really here for the last 10%, but it was fun nonetheless, and watching it from a spectator's point of view as well has been fantastic. But obviously, shout out to him for doing the commentating all throughout the season with yourself, and awesome job from you as well for all the camera work and everything you put in this season.
Thank you very much there as well. So yeah, thanks to all the people that helped me put this season together. Roger Morton, Craig Jones, Jason Hannington as well. We literally, the birth of this league wouldn't have taken place without Roger Morton's suggestion there as well. So much love to him as well. I'd say thank you to Mark, thank you for Callum for joining me. But for the final time this season, guys, there's no Clios next week as we aren't going to be coming back. But don't worry, you won't have long to wait before we will return for the Clio Season 3 as well. But for the final time, guys, as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on a track sometime. Good night.